So he's done it. TEERASIL Dangda is officially the top scorer in AFF Suzuki Cup history. We're going to talk about the game that has just finished. Philippines 1, Thailand 2, a brace from that man Dangda. But before we get into it, how cool was the thumbnail? It clearly grabbed your attention. You clicked on it. So why not click that subscribe button below as well so you can keep up with everything that we talk about in this tournament. Match reviews, match previews, the occasional watch along, and of course all the other competitions that we cover here at D&Q as well. But today we're talking about this game because the Philippines are out. Philippines have been knocked out in the group stage, even by some miracle. If Timor-Leste beat Singapore and then Singapore lose to Thailand on the final game and Philippines beat Myanmar 50-0, it's not going to make a difference because of the head-to-head rule, that game that we looked at earlier last week between Singapore and the Philippines that of course finished 2-1 again. Another 2-1 defeat for the Philippines, having a huge bearing on this competition. And really it makes sense. You know, you can't lose to the other sides that might get out of the group. A draw might have been enough in both of those games, but they've lost both by that 1-goal margin and they are out. I'm going to talk about a few key points, a few standout players, and then where this leaves the tournament as a whole. I'm going to try and be as balanced as possible. Of course, not done a video on Thailand yet, done a couple on the Philippines already. And I think that my overall message is that Thailand look very good and will be a threat to favourites Vietnam to lift this trophy. But let's get into it. It didn't take too long, did it? About halfway through the first half, Dangda breaks the record. Tiraton with a brilliant delivery, but what a finish. This is the player showing his class. A beautiful sweeping left foot finish into the top corner. No chance for Hansen. Thailand up to this point had been dominating possession, probably had a few more chances as well, but it was quite balanced. It was quite a balanced game in terms of clear-cut chances. And then that little bit of prowess, that little bit of brilliance, getting Dangda the all-important goal. On about 38 minutes, there was an incident involving Schrock. He picked up a booking for a late challenge. It was probably a booking. It was a little bit malicious, but the retort also deserved a booking. And Stuart Hall, after the game, pointed to this. Why wasn't there a booking for both players? And hinted at some of the refereeing decisions, which of course we will get onto. I'm sure you are waiting to hear my opinion on the penalty, but we'll get to that. I thought that Tiraton was one of the best players, playing a sort of left wing-back role that ventured through the midfield as well for Thailand. I thought he was one of the standout players. And actually, for most of the game, I thought that the standout players for the Philippines were Hansen in goal and Aguinaldo as well, who I thought generally, despite everything that happened later on in the game, had a very solid game at the back as well. I always liked Reichelt as a player. He didn't have too much involvement. But he did as the second half went on. Half-time was 1-0. At the start of the second half, Hansen made an incredible save from Narubadin with a brilliant strike, swirling and dipping, probably just going under the bar. Hansen tipped it onto the bar and the ball ricocheted away. The Philippines counter-attack. Schrock does well to win a free kick. And a bizarre bit of defending. The free kick whipped in. A terrible header out, but Reichelt switched on. When managers always say gamble, you need to gamble on the second ball. The ball drops down. The first player to it is Reichelt, who smashes the ball past the keeper. 1-1, and that gave the Philippines a lifeline, despite the fact that Thailand was starting to tighten their grip on this game. Listen, Thailand were playing some really good stuff, but I thought the Philippines were defending well, and I thought that they were going for the classic smash and grab, which was probably the right tactic against a side who is better than them at football. Certainly when you consider, as Stuart Hall mentioned after the game, that the Philippines didn't have all of their players released, whereas the Thai League has taken a break, which makes perfect sense. And listen, there is therefore the benefit that, look, the Philippines are a stronger side when everyone's available because they've got the influence from around the world. Thailand are stronger when there isn't an international break all around the world because they're all homegrown players predominantly. You know, most of the players in the Thai team playing in the Thai League or, you know, other leagues like the J League and things like that. So it makes perfect sense that it swings and roundabouts. But Thailand, certainly one of the stronger sides. Then on the... well, this is where it really picked up from 1-1 because there was a quick-fire load of chances. Sato cleared one off the line. Brilliant, intelligent defending. Just dropped back as the chance came in. Cleared one off the line in about 60 minutes. And there were some big tackles flying in as well. Chanatip lucky to get away with a yellow card as he went in over the top of the ball on Aguinaldo. Then 77 minutes, this is where the controversy lies, and this is where I'm going to be looking for you. If you're from the Philippines, if you're from the Thailand, drop a comment below. What did you think about this incident? So it's good play. The ball comes in. TEERASIL gets half a chance. Good shot. Good save from Hansen. The ball breaks free. And then it was Titipan. Flicks the ball past Aguinaldo. No doubts about that. The leg comes out from Aguinaldo. No doubts about that. Titipan goes down. Penalty given. We saw lots and lots of replays about this. Lots of replays. From the referee's point of view, I can understand why the decision was given. Because Titipan gets past Aguinaldo, the leg comes out, and for all intents and purposes, the next thing you see is Titipan dropping to the floor. For me, though, it is a dive. I hate to say that. I apologise to any Thai fans who might think differently, but I do think that it is a dive, and I think with the benefit of VAR in this tournament, that decision would have been overturned. We could have done with a few more camera angles watching the game because we didn't see clearly, but I just didn't... I saw Titipan go down, but there was no lateral movement from where the contact would have been. You see, Aguinaldo's leg does come out, but if it made contact with the player, you'd have seen some lateral movement in the hip or thigh area from Titipan. He just goes straight down. I understand why he's done it as the forward. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He's expecting the contact. He sees the leg come out. But, in my opinion, there's no contact, and it should not have been a penalty. Having said that, Dangda then steps up and wraps it home for his second goal of the game. He, moving on to 19 goals in AFF Suzuki Cup history, now the top scorer. He'll be hoping to get goal number 20, I'm sure, at some point in this tournament. Will it come in the next game? Then Hansen made a few good saves. He denied Dangda the hat-trick on the 86th minute with a decent little header. Philippines throwing the kitchen sink at this one, but couldn't break them down, and the Philippines are now out. Thailand, of course, now ahead of Singapore, who play Timor-Leste in, well, from when I'm recording it, about an hour's time. I think that that will move Singapore potentially ahead on goal difference. If not, they'll potentially be level. I think that there will be 2 or 3 goals at least in that game. It depends what Timor-Leste side rock up. But unfortunately for Philippines, even if Timor-Leste pull off the unthinkable against host Singapore, the Philippines are out. Where do they go from here? The question was asked to Stuart Hall. He didn't really give a clear answer. He pointed to players being out due to this tournament not being in the FIFA calendar. Disappointment, I'm sure. But listen, there's lots of tournaments, should I say, in this part of the world. The Philippines will have to regroup and go again. For this time, they are out. Their players will have to travel home and they will have to reassess where they're going as a side. I don't think they got it tactically wrong today. I think they were just outplayed by the better side in Thailand, and I think we've already elicited the reasons for that. Potentially the players not being available. But Thailand are a very good side, and let's not take anything away from Thailand, who are now through. They will want to top the group because Vietnam and Indonesia are the two sides currently going through, but of course Indonesia will play Malaysia in what is an absolutely monumental game to determine who may or may not go through in that one. It will be very, very interesting. But I think we've seen Vietnam flex their muscles against Malaysia already. And I think everyone will want to avoid Vietnam until the final. So the shootout between Thailand and Singapore for who will go through top of the group is going to be a huge, huge game. My money would be on Thailand. I think Thailand and Singapore will go through. I still think Indonesia will struggle to get out of the group. We'll see how they get on against Malaysia in this huge, huge game. But I think that Vietnam will top that group. And my money would be on a Thailand-Vietnam final. Who's your money on? Drop a like on this video. Drop a comment below. Dangda has broken the records. The Philippines are out. Where do they go from here? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. That is all from me. Until next time.